have friends that will tell me, oh, their parents hung them on the fan. And the fan was moving. Hi y'all, welcome again to another episode of Life in the Maple series. I am your host, your one and only Sophie Mocha. You can call me Miss Pink, right? People have called me Miss Pink for so long. But anyway, so last week I posted a video and we did a podcast episode of me just introducing myself to you, letting you know what the reason behind the podcast is and some of the topics we're going to be talking about. And also giving you a backstory to the first episode and what happened and how that came out to be. Life in the Maple podcast just came out of nowhere. It wasn't in my plans or my cards for 2025, but it happened, and I'm glad it happened because I can't wait to start having an amazing conversation. Today, I have a special guest with me in the house. Like, we go way back when, before marriage, before kids, school, all those kind of things. And we're going to have a very interesting conversation. So I want you guys to meet my guest for today. Let me not do an intro, but I've told you guys that we go way back, right? Yeah. But I'll allow Zizi to do her intro. Zizi is the name I call her, but she'll tell you what her official birth name is. Because sometimes I meet people, right? Like today, like in church, I met a lady and she was telling me, like we chatted, I said hi. She was not trying to say, oh, she's Obi. And I'm like, oh, I know, I've met you with Zizi. And she was like, I was like, Marianne. I now realized, I was like, I can't
yes, my friend from way back actually called me Zizi. I got that name from you guys in school. Because we had, I think, what was it that we had? I can't even remember how that name came about.
I don't
but then
I can't remember.
That's the name I've been going with. But then it's awkward. People want to know you. So sometimes when you introduce yourself, don't just want to say
Zizi. Yes.
And then when they see me every other place in my play area with close friends, they're saying Zizi. I'm like, is that your name?
Is that your name? Like, introduce us.
That's my name. So my name is Mary Ann, and yes, we go way back. I've known Sophie since 2010.
2010 or 2009.
Yes.
I think it was.
I don't know
but around that time when we entered college, when we entered
college, we were classmates in the university, and since then it's like we have watched each other grown, evolve. Like I tell people that the Sophie
tremendous.
The Sophie I know today, not the Sophie I've known before. Sophie I know before was fire. Like she was me.
The fire is still there in my own way, it's now the Holy Spirit is leading the fire.
I can see that Sophie you know before that you think was me now. It's not the same Sophie. Like God has changed her. You won't even believe the kind of person she is right now. We really watched each other grow because we've known each other from like adolescence, and then we started growing, we started walking
into young adults,
started walking with God, started walking with our spouses, started walking with our children. Career-wise, like we've seen each other in different phases, and I think that's the beauty of friendship. You know somebody from way back, and you know that changing is okay.
Exactly, you know that changing is okay.
Changing is okay.
And then you also know that you know this person inside and out. Like when they tell you certain things, you know that this one can.
I know where it's coming from.
You know where it's coming from. Like
if you say somebody did something, there's something you say something, I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I know where she would have done that. Right now, if she does that, there must be a reason, right? So I'm able to even defend my friend because I feel like I know her very much. Yeah. So I tell people, everybody needs a girl. I don't know about you. I mean, people are like, friendship these days. Everybody needs a girl, especially in this era where we are, right? We're in Canada. I mean, this was also a phase for us, a phase where we both got married. Everybody moved on with their lives. She's with her husband. I eventually got married. I'm with my husband in that state. And then before she knows, she has moved to Canada. She moved to Canada a year before me.
I think it was 2000 and we moved here 2018.
And then I came 19, right? And that's when we got back again. So friendship isn't that you're always with that person. Right?
I think grown up or mature friendship is you can be miles apart, but the moment you guys talk or have a conversation, it's like you have been seeing yourselves every day, talking every day.
Look at what we do with our friends and the French hotties, right? because we have friends from, way back to the university. We're scattered all over the world. And then once in a while, we have this video call. And the way we connect, we're gisting. And then it's like, we've not talked to each other like forever. And shout out to social media, man. Because I don't even know. Social media has really, really made connections easier. Like you're not missing someone. They're not miles away because you're talking to them. You're seeing them on their WhatsApp status. You're chatting. There's the story.
You can like say, oh, I have like a backstory to your life. I understand you went with your kid here, you went with your kid here, you did this.
I know my friend's kid's name, even if I haven't met them, because I see their posts, I see them, I know them by face.
Their birthdays, how old they are.
I know, and I'm grateful for that. It's really helped friendship. But moving to Canada has done a number on us.
Oh my God. What would you say? Let me ask you a question. What would you say? So, first of all, let me then Anne didn't say that part, but she's married with 4 kids. 4 kids. Let me add the kids.
My last is 3-month-old.
She just had one last year, December. So she's still on the stove.
No, I'm still cooking. I'm still in the postpartum ghetto right now.
Like, I have 3 kids. You guys know sometimes I share my stories and everything. I have 3 kids, but the 3 kids. Anyway, people say maybe you explain that having 4 kids, like, is it the same as having 3 kids? Because they always say it's the same. Add one more.
Well, the difference between 1 and 2 is a lot, right?
Yes, that one I know.
Yeah, the difference between 1 and 2 is a lot. By the time you add the 3rd one, I feel like it depends on how old the 2nd one was by the time you add the 3rd one.
Yes, if they are not 2 under 1.
Yes, because I'm sure in your case and my case, our seconds were like 4 years at least before the 3rd came. And that made things easier because the first 2 were a bit more independent. They're no longer in that toddler phase. I think the problem really is when you have toddlers. Or at least you have 1 toddler and a baby, or 2, more than 1 toddler and a baby is bad. Right? But if you're able to give it reasonable space, and it's okay. I
think I was among the people that they always the people that that your first child is not even 1 year. And you're pregnant. I was among those people.
I cannot judge.
I don't know how I am.
Once you become a mother, you will reduce being judgmental because there are things you don't expect that will happen to you. All the judgmental. I remember somebody was telling me that she used to tell her friends, you give your children tablets. That look at her now. She cannot just take the tablet.
My sister recently said it. Do you know that if you're watching this, you know it's your She said when I gave birth then back home in Nigeria, and I used to give like cassis noodles and everything.
Yes.
Like after I give your kids noodles, it's so noodles is so it's plastic. It's not really now noodles have so much noodles die. Like if he doesn't eat noodles in a day, it's like he hasn't started. Like,
to be honest,
I'm like, now you're giving me.
Now you see, you need to choose your battles. That's the first thing you learn about motherhood. You need to choose your battles.
Yeah.
Right. As much as we're trying to raise healthy kids, we're trying to give them healthy choices. Right. Sometimes, okay, you need to just let them be. So they let them be.
And it's for your peace of mind.
It is for yourself because. Being in Canada, you know how it is now. Most of us back home, we had helps, we have nannies, we had cleaners, we had cooks, we had drivers, all whatnot. Your family was close by. It was an entire village. Right now, there's no village.
There's nobody.
There's no
you
village.
Yourself and
literally.
Yourself. And then if you're in my case where maybe your spouse doesn't work in the country and he travels and it's just you and the kids.
It's just you, right? I mean, I understand that we have each other, for example, but we understand that I cannot burden my friend.
Too much.
There are certain things that I want to ask of my friend. I know that's selfish of me.
Yeah.
Right? I cannot say, hi Sophie, can I come and drop the kids for you? I just want to go shopping I even to drop the kids for her every time we go shopping. Does she do the same for you?
Yeah.
You have to learn to work things out.
Yeah.
Yes, there are certain times that I tell Sophie, you know what, bring the kids. I know there was one time you had a serious attack, you had a panic attack. It was so bad.
I was stressed.
It was so bad. I was like, you know what, just
bring the kids and then just go and rest.
Go and rest. You need to do this. You understand? There are times like that. Now, Sophie's not going to say, okay, Mary Ann is around, I'm going to bring the kids to her all the time.
Every day.
So we understand, every excuse to bring the child. So we understand that we have each other, but we cannot burden each other because all of us have our burdens.
Yeah.
You know, as a human being, what you're going through. You want to bring another child on it.
Yeah.
Right? So
person.
I think that's another thing that makes our friendship thrive.
Yeah.
We understand that we cannot be selfish with it.
Yes.
What I would not want someone to do to me, I won't do it to my friends.
Exactly. That's how it goes. It's like love your neighbor as yourself. Basically, friends.
Simple.
In that bracket. So, and what you know that you don't want others to do to you, don't do it to someone else. It's as simple as that.
And that's why a lot of friendships don't thrive, because somebody wants to.
One person is using the other.
Why?
It cannot work.
It can't work. I tell people, if you're not a good friend yourself, you cannot attract friends.
Yeah.
You cannot attract good friends. If you're a bad person, all the good people will come near you and leave.
Yeah.
Right? But you have to be a good friend to attract friends like you.
Yeah.
And that's on period. Mm-hmm. With this childbearing thing, there's no other way to do it. And I'm like, you have 4 children. How are you doing it? And you even still have time to do makeup.
You know why I hung my boots?
You even still have time to do makeup. I'm like,
of the 4 child, you should not hold me accountable. Except maybe God say something, because I'm not in control. But the one that I'm in control of, my boots, I hung it in Kafanchan. I cannot find it again. It's like, because like we say, like motherhood, raising kids, parenting here is very, very tough. The system is tough, especially because we grew up in Nigeria. We had 20-something years in Nigeria, right? And we saw how our community raised kids. We saw how we were raised. We saw how it was easy. Like growing up, I had 2 house helps in the house. Like I never washed my dress till I went into a boarding school. In the boarding school, I had to learn how to wash and everything, right? Then I never really did house chores too till I went to a boarding school, all those kind of things. And then fully having that autonomy to take care of myself and everything was when I went into university college, right? But I never really had all those things because house helps were cooking, even learning to cook. I learned how to cook when I was about to get into uni, like at 16, 17.
My mom did teach us how to cook, but you don't cook her soup for her. She'll give you a small pot, like cook in that corner. So the first
thing to learn.
Don't spoil my soup. Cook in one corner, right? I mean, parenting. I noticed that everybody grew up differently with what they know about parenting, how they know about parenting. But the fact that there was help, made all the difference.
Yeah.
Here, I will not lie, the first, when I moved to Canada, I had just 2 kids. The other 2 was when I was here. I've been here 6 years.
Yeah.
And those 2, only coming with 2, I cried almost every day. Every day I will fight with my husband. You're running here to suffer! You know, I would fight, I would cry. It was emotionally draining. And to be honest, I felt like I was insensitive. I need to apologize to my husband because he too was going through his own part of it. He was going through it because coming to somewhere, leaving everything, leaving the home you know, coming somewhere and knowing that you have people to feed, you have people to take care of, starting from scratch. He was going through his own, but then me too, I was going through my own. I felt like I had nobody else to blame but him, forgetting that he was going through his as well. I always tell people when you're moving, it's going to strain your relationship with your husband.
It's going to strain
because both of you are going through a lot.
I feel like marriage conversation itself should be another topic on its own.
Marriage,
relationships,
it should be another topic.
Cheating, it should be another topic because as much as there's so many dynamics to unravel.
There's so much in life.
There's so much.
But we're going to keep it to children and us. Yes. How we're coping. How we're coping with it.
So I wanted to ask you now, like in this space, when you think of like parenting, right, raising our children, because most people, right, when we move, especially with our culture and our background back home in Nigeria, right, we all know how kids are raised. We all know the kind of firm hand, right, that they raised us with. Like you could spank, you could correct the child by even the teachers in school could correct the child punishment. Like in our culture, we saw it as normal. We used the verse in the Bible, spare the rod and spoil the child. That was like the yardstick for everything. So correction and everything. Nowadays, I see videos of, growing up like Nigerians like us, maybe that have moved abroad, that talk about trauma that they had, because sometimes it could be extreme. It could be extreme, right? The good, the bad, the ugly, but some had it really, really bad. While some was just medium, and you knew that was basically to correct.
Yes.
Right? So I hear some of them talk about, the trauma, it was abuse, all of those things that we thought were normal upbringing, training, was abuse, was this. Because I have friends that tell me, their parents hung them on the fan. And the fan was moving. Them, the thing was. I've heard like they use broom like this, so the broom pierced into their body. I've heard the ones that they cut them with knife till they put pepper in the cut.
Someone's parents.
Yes, like parents. I've heard those kind of stories, right?
Abuse.
So some of them talk about those things and they say, it's trauma and everything. And when I hear those stories, I'm like, this is horror, because it's
trauma.
Like,
I never.
The only time my mom would spank you it has to be something grave,
very
something serious. Like, that's a spank. It was not like an everyday thing.
No, I was not raised like that. And I feel like that says a lot about days and times. Yeah. Because I look at myself as a parent right now, and I don't think I can do that. Even when they say, Nigerian parents don't apologize, I apologize to my children. Right? That is how angry I'll be, and I'll get at them, I'll punish them excessively. I eventually go and talk to them and I apologize. It doesn't mean I don't discipline them. You must discipline your child.
Yeah.
That one is a must. You must discipline your child.
Yeah.
Right? You must, if you have to spank them, you can do that.
Yeah.
Under the feet, one at the bum. But you need to let them know that what you're doing, talking is not enough. Yeah. I'm sorry. I feel like we have to find the middle ground. We're not going to abuse our children.
Yeah.
But they have to take certain level of
responsibility or something, or correction.
Correction.
Yeah.
Right? I remember I was yelling at my daughter that day because if you correct her, I was like, why are you crying? I cannot talk to you again. I don't understand. She's 8 years. My first is 8 going to 9.
She's emotional. Something.
She's that kind of emotional person. When you talk to her, she's hurting. She will apologize. But every child is different.
Yeah.
I know back in the day, you went to boarding school. A lot of us, our parents were okay putting their children in boarding. I cannot do it.
Now I cannot do it because I know what I went through.
Not even go through anything. But I cannot imagine living one day without my child. Right?
I remember where she's sleeping in the night.
I remember when I came to Canada newly, and I would always call my mom and cry. I'm suffering. I'm this. I can't do this anymore. She'll tell me, bring the children.
Bring them back.
Bring them back. I can take care of them. My mom is a teacher, right? I can take care of them. And when they are older, I can bring them back for you. I told her, what kind of mother will I be? If I give you my children, what will I now be doing? I'll not be kind of doing what?
Career woman, that's it. Making money.
I'll not be kind of doing what? No, I can't do that, right? So it gives you an idea of the mind our parents had that time. We don't have it. I don't know what's in the air back then, but they seemed different.
Yeah.
They were so different. Certain things that they're doing now, I can't do. And that doesn't mean I'm going to let my child do whatever they like. And that's what a lot of parents are now doing. We've gone from one extreme to the other.
Extreme. Thank you. It's like with every generation, everybody fights to not do what their parents did. I feel
making it worse.
Making it worse. So it's like, this is what my parents, especially the ones that talk of the trauma they faced when it came to correcting them, which was like extent of abuse, right? Most of them always say like, when I have my own kids, I would never do this to my kids. I will never spank. I will never this and that. So the way they raise the kids is now like to the other end of the spectrum.
Luckily for me, I didn't get that. My parents were really lovely and nice, but I knew what my parents lacked that I wanted to put in here, and I knew that I needed to find a balance.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
and number one thing that helps me find that balance is I want to be close to my children, but I'm not my child's friend.
Yes. True.
I am not your friend. Right?
Yeah.
I'm your mother. Okay. And as a mother, there's more to me than just your friend. Being a friend means I'm just there. I'm going to listen with you. I'm going to vibe with you. I'm going to support you. No, I'm your mother. And with that mother comes that best friend, comes disciplinarian, comes mentorship, comes guidance.
True.
Right? So that is who I'm going to be. I'm going to be your mother. I'm not just going to be your friend. Right? And with that means I'm going to be there for you in prayer. I'm going to be there for you to hold your hand through different stages of your life.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm also be the one you're going to talk to. And when I respond to you, I'm not just responding as your best friend. I'm also responding as the person who mediates in prayer, the person who has watched you go, the person who knows the kind of mother you are, the kind of child you are. Right? So it's not just from a place of, okay, let's just shine teeth out. Shine teeth. You know, there are times and places for that. Okay? That brings you to the conversation where most people say
that we're having a conversation before the podcast, right?
Yes. When people say, oh, I saw a post where somebody said, when do we have the conversation about all our children being tagged ADHD or autism when they move abroad?
Yeah, so mostly African families.
Autism, you know, stuff like that. I mean, I understand that we come from an environment that is usually loud, right? We have this high spirit, we're energetic, which is not usual here.
Yeah, you usually see kids on the streets like dancing.
There's so much energy. There's so much, you know.
We're such happy people.
So sometimes when we come here, that loudness, that energetic, you know, but truthfully, I tell people, let's be honest, your child got labeled. What they say is wrong. They think now usually they'll say they think your child needs to be diagnosed for something. Now take it in good faith. A lot of parents go into denial because what I realize is it's possible that we also have that situation in Nigeria where our kids may have those subtle autism traits. The spectrum is very big from what I've read.
Yeah.
The spectrum is very wide, right? Mm-hmm. You know those ones that we call, God forgive me, do we say
imbecile? There's something we say. So kids that is
Down syndrome, extreme. There are also the situations of mild cases with that, which I've noticed a lot of kids outgrow, and that's why it's one of the thing in Nigeria. We'll label them stubborn children, energetic children.
She doesn't hear what
he doesn't
use those kind of statements.
Meanwhile, here there are actual diagnoses. Right. So I tell parents, see, I think we're undiagnosed in Nigeria. Undiagnosed, right? And mostly because most of these kids is subtle, they outgrow it, so we don't even notice it's a thing. Now, when we come here and our kids are showing those traits, the daycares, the schools say, you know what? I think this child may have this. And it's usually always a suggestion. Can you go and check the child? And we get angry, right? And so sometimes I'm like, see, I understand where you're coming from, but take it in good faith. Go and do an actual test for it. Okay? Have a physician look into it. Whatever way they are testing, let them test for it.
True,
and take whatever advice they give you or whatever prescription or procedure they tell you to take. Right? It's possible, it's there, and it's not a bad thing. Let's be honest. Right? So I tell people, listen, you cannot tell your child to sit. What do you think happens in school? If you cannot tell your child to sit down and they sit, what do you really think happens in school?
What do you think teacher does?
Right? There are certain, I feel like there are certain things a child should be able to do at certain age and grade.
Yes, so it depends on the age,
So if at that age, this child is not here, they start suspecting there might be a problem. That's when they say what they say. They could be wrong, right? It could also mean that the child, having changed environments, is struggling to cope. Okay? Now, at that point, when you've gone to the physician and they say, therapist, is it a bad thing to, I don't think it's such a bad thing.
Normal us, right? Growing up or whatever, we see it as a bad thing. Like, you have to be really sick, right? To see a therapist, right? In quotes, you're sick. Then, when it comes to the point that it's now your child, most of the parents feel like it reflects on them and it now tags them as bad parents if your child is diagnosed with those kind of things, ADHD, all of that too,
But like we said, it's one of two things, right? It's either your child is really sick or you did not train your child well. Let's be honest now. You don't train your child well, your child is wild. It's one of two things, right?
Your child is jumping in people's beds and biting the cake and
scattering things. You take your child out and your child is running around. It's one of two things. Either your child is sick or you not raise your child well. Let's be honest about it. Right? If you cannot tell your child to sit down and they can't sit, what do you want outsiders to do? Really? So it's back home, we just leave all the work to the teacher and the nannies.
And then the teachers were allowed to spank.
They were allowed to
punish. They're allowed to do things. But here, the teachers don't do any of those things. They can only use words. Right? Or go to detention or do this or do that. So they expect that the parents to be hands-on too in helping with the kids.
So because if this child is worrisome and I take up most of my time cautioning this child, talking to this child, time I'm supposed to use for other things. There's a curriculum, that activities I need to take on for the day, but this child is taking up most of it. I'm going to have to involve the parent and say, hey, this is the problem I'm going through. Can you help me with this? Right? And if we don't see it improving, they might have to either let go of the child. Honestly, don't blame the school system. Right? We have a lot of work as parents to do back home. Back in our homes. Here. In our homes, I mean, right? It's no longer what you do. You wake up in the morning, you go to work in Nigeria, you leave your child for the nanny, you come back, you barely know who your child is. Here, you have to know your child. You have to really raise your child. You have to be hands-on. Right? So you're not just going
to... they want, give them experiences, be part of their education. Be part. You have to be part of it. Because I feel like the issue now, the difficulty, what do you think is that once parents come from here, they're already used to, like you said, the school background. They're already used to the school handling.
Doing everything.
It becomes so tough for them to be involved. Like I've heard people say, because sometimes the calls can be too much, but I understand why they need to call. That's the school.
Understand. Like, I put myself in their shoes. I work here and I imagine my work having maybe 1 or 2 children interrupting my work the whole time, making my life difficult.
Every time. The school's calling you, you're taking a speech from your boss, you're leaving, you're going to the school. Every second, your child is...
Like I said,
when you go back, it's just a small thing that they could have...
It's a small thing, I understand, but it's one of two things. It's either you really accept that there might be an underlying issue and then you work towards it. There is nutrition and there's a lot of help, right? You get nutritionists, you get pediatricians, you get psychologists, you get therapists, you get the help you need, to be honest. It's just that we don't want to accept it. And that's okay if you don't want to accept it. But the truth is, your child can keep being like this. And for you as a parent, how do you really feel? It hurts.
How do you really feel?
Whenever my school calls me, my son did it, I know how it hurts. Right? But that means you have to go back home with that child and know what exactly is the problem. How do we work this out? Find out with the child, what do you need help with? And like I said, sometimes it's just a case of you not being able to... Children need to be... I don't want to say controlled, I mean guided. That's the word I'm going to use.
When they are born into this life, they don't know anything. So they sort of learn and pick up cues and behaviors from children, from people around them or from the parents, right? So you also have to be careful. I think that was another topic of the friends or the people around them too, because you can say, because this person is my friend, of course it's natural for that person's kids to be around you. But now, depend on how that person is parenting. That's another topic we want to talk about too. Because sometimes this person can be your friend. This person is nice as a friend. But then you now have kids and put your kids into the equation. You see that those person's kids are unruly.
Thank you. So as my friend, you're good. But as a parent, I see that your child is influencing my own child
negatively. How do we? What's
another conversation? I just feel like parents just want to let their kids be. You cannot let your child be.
Because it's stressful, they just want to...
I know, but you cannot let your child be... A child, the way a child behaves, like you said, reflects on the kind of person you really are. Right? If I have principles, I have family values, I have family goals, which I feel like every family should draw out. We should have family principles, family values in this house. Right? Everybody should have what they are working towards. If I say, we don't do this, we don't do this. And why? Because mama said so. And that's it. I don't have to explain myself. Right?
When you're old enough and you get married and you want to do it.
Another thing parents do is when they say, there's so little allowed them. It's a lie. I feel like if you cannot get your child to a certain place by 7 years, I don't think it gets harder. You have the first 7 years of their life to groom them. After 7, it starts, they're now conscious.
So those behaviors are sort of shaped and part of them.
They're shaped now. It's not harder, right? And before you know, with their environment, at that age, their environment is beginning to influence them. It's no longer what mommy said. But when they are younger, they're more connected to you. You're able to say things and they understand and listen. You're able to say, hey, we don't do this and we don't do it. Why? Because of this, that. And that's it. But when they start getting to that age where they're questioning you, why? If you don't have a basis or a foundation you've done before, it's gone, no?
It's gone.
right?
That means it'll be tough to reel them in.
It'll be tough.
And in a society where, of course, we know spanking is not allowed, all these kind of things. And it's not even as if, like, I even talked to some Nigerian parents like me that moved here and everything. I'm like, it's not even as if spanking is the head and be all.
No.
But I feel like it's the values, just like what you're saying, the values of the parents as a whole, and then the values they place on those families that the kids can see, because you can talk as much as you can talk, you can spank as much as you can spank, but they also look to you, your own, the way you behave, the way you talk. They watch. Like one day, my daughter was just playing. Kara was playing. I was doing something. And she was just jumping around. Although I was like, don't imitate mom praying. She just said like, this is how mom prays. She was now jumping around and trying to speak in tongues, like how I was saying, but just saying things. And she was like, this is how mom prays and everything. Like, so they watch, they pick up cues from your own behavior, your own things. Like, things that are guiding me now are things that maybe my mom told me years ago, maybe before I even entered school, before I even thought of getting married, like things that she placed inside of me. Like, when the Bible says train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not
never depart from it.
The Bible knew what it was saying.
Knew what it was saying.
It wasn't a joke.
Don't take it with a pinch. Don't take parenting with a pinch of salt. I feel like the most heartbreaking part of being a human being or being a parent is when your child grows up and a child that at this age should now be a responsible adult is still irresponsible. Now you have a child who is probably doing drugs, who's not able to keep up a job,
oh my God,
who's on the street, who is going in and out of jail, or who is just unruly.
It's heartbreaking.
That is hard, and you don't want that. So, as much as you're saying it's hard, put in the work now to avoid that kind of heartbreak.
Now,
right?
And there's some things that sometimes you can't even control, because sometimes you can try your best to raise your kids in the good way and everything. They will still go outside,
honestly, actually,
and meet with what they call it, non-entities, nonsensical people. And then they meet with them, and that whole youthful exuberance and everything
is gone.
And they get mixed up with it. But one thing I still know, because I've seen examples time and time again, that even when that youthful exuberance comes, even when they do those things, when you see that upbringing, it will never depart from. That's the only thing that can pull them out, because some people that were not raised with that upbringing, they sink inside that hole and they never come out till they're 60. You
have had conversations about certain places you be at, certain things you be doing. Be like, if my mother catches me here, and that's
my mom is not here.
That's how you up and leave. If my mother catches me here, my husband will always tell me this story about somebody he knows who told him that they went to join cult. Right, and he was there. He was there in the initiation. You know, all these cultists in Nigeria, they were there during the initiation. The guy just in his mouth was like, if my father catches me here, he will kill me before anybody here kills me. So, and that's how he upped and left.
Initiation ended.
As in, that's how he upped and left, and they chased him. So that he had to leave school. But I mean, at some point, to be honest, it stays. You have to do it to save yourself from the future. It stays. And like you said, it's not by power or might.
Yeah.
God
have control of everything.
It's not by power or might. I know we're talking as if we have everything figured out. Neither of us do.
No.
Neither of us do. Right? We still have our own. We're still struggling in our different places. But I feel like there are ground rules.
Yeah.
There are ground rules.
There are ground rules. There are values.
Your children should be able to hear you. Simple.
Yeah, they should be able to listen when you speak.
Your children should be able to hear you. I stand with that all the time. And I'm like, if you cannot sit down with your child and tell your child, you did this, you did that, don't do it again. Right? You have to lay the foundation. If you're not able to talk to your child, at what age really? You say, oh, the child is small, The child will outgrow you so quickly.
Yeah. Another thing that when I first moved here, I started seeing videos and content, on Instagram around they had like child pediatrician or even child psychologist and everything. And they were talking of the different steps to train your kids and raise your kids, right? Those things were never in our purview as people that came from Nigeria, because we always had our own methods to raise the kids, like the village, the people on the street.
Every other person raises your child.
Like they'll see your child somewhere and be like, and you know this person's mom,
and they'll beat you from outside there.
They'll start beating you
before you get home. But I heard that things are changing now. Because someone's trying to tell you, how dare you touch my child? Who are you to correct my child?
Of disease.
You know, honestly, it does take a village. We that don't have the village here, that puts all the work on us.
Yeah.
All the work on us. And like I said, you don't want to grow old and be suffering.
Yeah.
That is my biggest fear. And that's what I think of if I feel like, oh, I'm stressed, oh, I should let the kids be, oh, this. I just think about the heartbreak a child can cause you.
Yeah. It can
the heartbreak a child can cause you. So I would rather put in the work now. And it's not like we have it figured out.
Yeah.
We keep striving, we keep learning. Unlike when we grew up, we're just raised to be a good wife, how to cook, how to clean, how to do that. Nobody really tells you. Your children will test you.
Nobody really tells you anything.
Nobody really tells you anything.
Just when are you having a baby? After you get married,
nobody tells you anything. Truthfully, that's our culture. Nobody. You get into it and then you see it and then they start. Everything is hush hush.
You're like, okay.
Why is everything hush hush?
Is it that our parents, our mothers suffered so much? They're like, let me not tell her, because if I tell her, she might decide not to.
I think so.
She might decide
right?
not to.
Which is one thing. We here now, we're seeing men being involved. Back home, men just go to work in the morning, come back in the evening, you serve them
provide
food
money and that's it.
You know. But here now you see men being involved. I'm grateful for my husband. I know I have 4 kids and it's like, oh, how do you do it? I'm like, to be honest, I don't think I can do without this man.
Yeah.
Right? Like now, I said my child is 3-month-old, and most times in the nights we're awake. We don't have a routine yet. We're awake all night. Even though I'm on maternity leave, we're awake all night. And then in the morning, I have to pack breakfast. The kids are leaving school by 7. I wake up. Maybe I slept around 4. By 6, I have to wake up to pack breakfast for the ones going to school, and then the one going to daycare. And then when I'm done packing that breakfast, I go back to sleep. He's the one who's going to bathe the toddler, take her to daycare, do the school run, you know. Right? And if I did not have him, how would I be able to do that? Right? I can't clean the whole house myself. It's a big house. Right? So he helps me vacuum, he will do laundry, he'll pick up this and that, he helps me discipline the kids. Here, the men are present, and that's another thing. I feel like when you move abroad, men should start being involved. You can't leave everything to the woman.
And
it's no longer like
they find it hard to do.
They do.
They find it hard to do. I think that's why the first years of struggle.
Yes, because we're switching roles now.
Yes, I need to have a man on this seat, so we'll talk about that issue. Maybe I'll have to get another person.
Because we're switching roles right now, so they are not used to being domestic, and all of a sudden they are here, and they to themselves are getting angry. Why is this place messy? Who is going to do it? Is it me? Right? I've been working the whole day too, just like you. So. And then when it comes to finances again, you as the woman, unlike before, nobody sends about how much you're making. You see that you two are playing a role in
combined effort now.
Everybody is entering everybody's role somehow, and that's why it's more like a struggle.
The lines are blurred.
So then, if you move here with your wife, you have to be hands-on. I'm sorry, there's no other way. I mean, you want her to die. If she dies, you don't leave alone. The kids cook will not be on your head if she dies.
They'll go marry again now.
It's
not them again. They'll go marry.
Who will you marry? Someone that will come, see that you want to turn them to a nanny and leave you again. Go and check how many people who have gotten married. You give them their children, they just get their papers and leave you. So, I mean, at some point, if you love your wife, you love your family, you have to put your hand in raising the kid.
Yeah, you have to. It's a combined effort though.
And women, you don't say, oh, okay, I'm now abroad, we have to leave things as is, so he has to pay all the bills. You want to kill him.
Yeah.
You want to kill him. If he dies, you be alone with the killer. You pay that bill that I don't want to pay eventually. Yeah. Right. So
except like the woman is not working, and I understand. Okay.
Exactly.
One person, or the man is not working. One person has to foot his.
It's a different. So everybody is different. Once you come here, raising children becomes different. Finances is different. Relationship is different. Managing the home is different. Every career-wise, I feel like it's even harder. Both of you can't even have full-time jobs because the kid will suffer it, or you end up paying more for childcare. It's one or the other.
Yeah, one or the other. Yes.
Right.
And then you end up. Sometimes you see that whatever income is even coming to the house is mostly going towards childcare. So at the end of the day, you ask yourself, what are we balancing? Am I taking a low-paying job so that I
can be there for the children, or don't chase career? And that's why I see a lot of people here. Normally when I go somewhere and I tell people like, oh, you have 4 children, so you must be a stay-at-home mom. That is the assumption for a lot of white folks. That's a lot of assumption for white folks because you cannot have this amount of children
kids and then you're working
and you're still working.
Yeah.
Most of it will go back to childcare.
Yeah.
Which truthfully might be my situation. But what makes it easier for me is because my husband works for himself, right? So I'm able to juggle things. So he's available, so I can still work while he's doing all the in between. Because imagine both of us at work, right? We're married, we're a couple.
You're clocking in 9 to 5.
You know, and the kid's boss is coming back by 3 or 4. You're still at work, your work ends by 5. What will happen to the kids? Who will pick them on the bus stop? Where would they go to? Will they be at home alone?
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot to discuss with this, and that's when you sit down with your spouse and find what works for you.
Yeah.
What works for A will not work for B.
Yeah.
Both in parenting, both in marriage.
Yeah.
But like I said, there are ground rules. In marriage, you can say ground rules are you have to respect each other.
It's true.
Right? For parenting, ground rules, you have to be on the same page. It causes a lot of problems in marriage when somebody wants to spank, the other person says, hey,
I had to learn that one the hard way. I won't even say the hard way because my husband, you know, he's quiet, he doesn't really talk too much, but I have to train myself. And I think in my walk with God and my relationship with God too, I had to heed the Holy Spirit too. There are certain things that I would want to do, like my husband is like trying to correct the kid or something. He rarely even corrects them, or I've never seen him like correct Hasha. He rarely does that. But there are occasions where he wants to do that. I don't know, there's something inside of me that cannot let him correct them.
I know. Like correct them. I'm the one that can I'm the one that can shout. I'm the one that can shout and shoot them and spank them. Who are you?
At the point that I want to see him, I'm like, leave my
child. That's my children. I do that.
But I had to learn and correct myself and put myself back. I was like, he's also the dad.
You know.
But there's just something inside that mom thing. That mom is, I want to protect my cub. Right?
Yes.
Like, hey, it's only me.
It's only me. I had that conversation with my husband. I was like, you don't do that. You don't try to stop me in the kids. You make us look like we're not a united front. And you know, I had to, even if it's pinching me like this, I'll just hold on. I'll just like, why did you do that now? It's so nice. You'd be like, can't apologize now. I remember one time my husband was so angry. You know, this early morning rush, we're going to miss the bus, we're going to miss the... If you know Didi, you know that my son is very slow. He's a perfectionist. Takes his time. His teachers complain about that a lot. He does it well, but don't rush him. He will take his sweet time, alright? And then, you know, the boss was going late, he was taking his sweet time. And funny enough, this new thing about workout he's doing. So when they told him to go downstairs and dress up, he was doing press up. Can you imagine? When my husband came there, he shook him like this, threw him inside the car, threw his boots, threw his jacket inside the car. I dropped him off in the snow like that, barefooted with his boots in his hand. The boy ran into the bus like this with tears in his eyes. You know, my husband did not rest the whole day. Like he himself knew that he was too harsh on the boy.
So,
right?
Wet socks on the snow.
He didn't. I told him, calm down. Let me call the school. It wasn't until I called the school and my husband spoke to him, because I called him and said, hey, I would like to speak to my son. They put him on the phone. Then he asked him, how are you doing? Are you okay? I'm sorry for being too harsh today. That was the only time my husband got himself. The whole day he was like, I was so harsh. He ran into the bus with his boots. You know, he was so harsh that it wasn't as if he spanked him or anything, but you know that when your dad shouts and flings you.
Go inside the car, take your bag,
it was so harsh. And he too, he felt, and that's one thing that the earlier generation did not have.
Yeah, that's remorse.
Maybe they did anyway.
But they were hard.
Maybe they did. We can't really tell.
Hard.
But you and your spouse have to be at the same place when it comes to parenting, because the kids know it. If I say no, and my spouse is the kind of person that always says yes, they will go to him.
That one. I'm like, as soon as they come to me to ask me for something, maybe my husband is upset and I'm downstairs, I know that when they come to ask for something, it means they asked him. And as soon as they tell me, I'll be like, so what did Daddy say? He said no. I said, exactly what Daddy said.
That's it.
Because before, I used to not understand. They'll come to me and be like, oh, Daddy said, I'll be like, oh yeah, go take. And then when he's shouting from upstairs, I say, oh, I told him not to take snacks anymore. They've taken how many? I'll be like, what's there?
What was there? I feel like that's another thing that causes problem. That's another thing that causes problem. You know, you're telling your, is it because of food? Is it because of food? You don't want this children? How much is food?
It's just snack. It's just treats. It's just chocolate.
It's discipline.
Yeah.
Those little things is discipline. Right? The fact that there is food, there is juice everywhere, doesn't mean you take 100.
At the time.
It's discipline. is self-control. You need to learn to say no to your children. Some of you don't know how to say no. No is not in your dictionary. And I'm sorry, you have to say no.
And some people think it's a sign of poverty mentality. If I say no to my kid, or I'm trying to like...
Is it because of... Is it because... No. It is self-control. Right? It is self-control.
Self-control. And that self-control, you're even teaching them a greater thing. You're seeing it as maybe just food or just snack or just drink or just pop. But it's a virtue.
It's a virtue.
That you're teaching.
You're teaching them manners.
Yeah.
Another one said, they even asking. There are a lot of kids who don't even ask. A lot of people who they'll just enter there and know. And before you know it, they'll eat this one, eat that one. They've scattered it all over your house.
Yeah.
I told my kids, are you bothering? Why are you burdening me? This mess you're making, who is going to clean it up, mommy? If you love your mother, you're not going to give me this kind of work. Better start doing it. And most of you are crying, oh, life is hard, life is hard, life is hard, life is hard, life is hard. But you have a 9-year-old, you have an 11-year-old, you have a 12-year-old, and you're still doing everything.
Oh, Mom.
And then you're shouting, oh, it's stressful, it's stressful. My husband doesn't help. The child in that house, uncle. Do you know what age they start washing bed sheets? Right? At least start from somewhere. Start washing their socks. Let them start washing their underwear. Let them start cleaning their mess after them when they eat. Clean up that place you ate. Sweep the floor. Let's start from there. Start cleaning your shoes when you come back from school. You need to start giving these kids, because those responsibilities give them a sense, those chores give them a sense of responsibility. Right? They're gradually getting that sense of responsibility. I need to take care of this and take care of that.
And they'll start keeping their room clean. They'll start keeping that space clean.
Start from there.
I saw a video of a woman, and I read the comments, and people were saying the same thing. She did a video and showing of how she was cleaning her daughter's room. Like, the room was a mess. Like, the room was trash. Trash. My daughter has a room. I've never seen her room like that in my life. Even if, like, I've not come into the room to say clean, I've never, like, this room, like, it had snack packs that had rotten under the bed. There was, like, if you see this video I saw, and, you know, she was saying she's just doing it because, no, but the way the room was scattered,
even that girl can't do it. How did you let it get this bad?
That's the thing. The mom had to do it. So, but I could read the comments and I understood parents, other people's frustration. I was like, how did you get this bad?
How did you get
Why
this
is she not cleaning after? Why are you not checking it? But, you know, instead of just hashing on the bad and everything, it was like a lesson to learn. Like, maybe for other parents or other people watching, it's like, you can't get this bad. It's like all of us have responsibilities. And I feel like every time, like Saturdays now, my kids clean, candy vacuums.
You have your bathroom. You clean your bathroom.
And the thing is that now they make it in a way that they try to not even make a mess.
Because they know the choice is now on them.
Cassie, when her cousins come to play or other people come to play and they want to mess up her room, she sends them to Camry's room. So don't mess up my own because she knows she's clean.
She's not okay.
So when they now start her Camry's room, Camry will be like, you see, they mess up that. Why you saw Cassie?
Why did you say something?
Why did you say, okay?
Somebody came to your house, they're making a mess. Because that's why I tell my children, you had guests.
Yeah.
You saw them trashing your house. You were shining teeth. Oh yeah.
When they finish,
clean it now. Next time someone comes to your house, if they're touching you, tell them no. Or they don't play with
you. Or you say when we're done playing, let's clean up after ourselves.
Clean up
before they go. Yeah.
So that's the thing. You're not engaging your children as much, and that's why the burden is on you.
Yeah.
Right? Yes, there are things. Yes, there are things they cannot do so well.
Yes.
But let them do it. I remember when I was teaching my children how to sweep. They will be scattering the thing. Like, as they are sweeping, they are scattering the mess. They are pushing it here and there. You will keep continuing. At first, it looks like you're even giving yourself more chore.
But at the end, do you want to carry people and say, no, it's
enough.
We'll begin tomorrow.
But continue gradually. Before you know it, they get into it. Don't say, oh, they are too little. Don't say, oh, no.
Yeah.
They have to. Because truthfully, it also gives them a sense of responsibility. It also puts them together. These are the little things that help them become human beings, not animals, not the ones that will grow up and looking for wives to come and clean up after them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then chores are not gender specific.
Yeah. They're not gender specific.
Chores are not gender specific.
Cooking.
Don't say, oh, it's for the girls. This morning I shouted at Didi. You're upstairs playing while your sister is frying egg. Yesterday when you made grilled cheese, maybe you burnt the cheese, you put too much cheese. You see it. Who will cook for you? I told her, Chichi says you to continue cooking for him. You cook for him forever. You will cook for him forever. She now said, okay, well, today you do it. I said, people should share
and show him what to do.
My kids are Chichi's going to turn 9, my first two, the other one just turned 7, my second. And Chichi has been making breakfast since she was like 6+. Right? The breakfast is easy. Make cereal, make toast. Noodles. Those are the things. Just let them start doing something.
Yeah.
You need to let them start doing something. You can't just be babying them about. You need to let them start doing something. It's good for them as a human being to feel like there's this satisfaction you get when you do something.
Yeah.
I made this. Mommy, come and see what I made. Mommy, whenever my daughter fries egg, she bring, Mommy, taste my egg. So nice. It makes them feel fulfilled and they want to do more.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you need to let them do these things. You don't just say do everything for them. Oh, my kid, my baby, you're pampering them. My dear. Yes. They will become a burden on you.
Yes.
They will become a burden on the society. You should be ashamed.
Yeah.
Right?
So, like in a nutshell now, so for parents that are here, like we're just basically summarizing, the steps and to help, to understand, to be involved. One of the things I like about, coming to Canada, what it opened my eyes about parenting, even marriage and everything, is that we are a family. We're not, growing up is like the father is the head, one authority that you cannot reach somewhere. The mother too is like after the head somewhere, Then we have the house helps and us the children
at the bottom.
So the Lord and
there's a hierarchy.
The Lord, Queen and King are somewhere there, like to even go and meet them to understand. But in Canada now, we see that as like, yes, the father respect, yes, the mom respect, but we're a family. Responsibility are shared, things are
the connection is
that
closer.
Connection, that needs, that everything. So what would you say in a nutshell, like summary now, to parents that are finding it hard? Maybe they just moved here, they're finding it hard to help raise their kids, or their kids have been diagnosed with something, ADHD, how to move forward from that, the steps to take, all that thing, like even what you're saying about training the kids, like me too, I had to train Cassie to be able to cook, make breakfast. Now, like she takes care of my 4-year-old, like I don't have to stress myself. Even when I'm tired, I come back and see everywhere's clean, they've eaten, she makes sure her sister eats, sometimes she even baits her.
That's another conversation too, that we don't want to burden our first child, because I've also seen that again. That's another conversation whereby because we are here now, we end up turning our eldest to our nanny. Right? No, so that's another conversation too. Everything has to be moderately.
Yeah.
Right. So my advice in a nutshell is, I think you have to sit down and talk about it.
Yeah.
Man and woman,
you
have to sit down and talk about it. What is going on with my family? How do we push forward? Right? Let's try this. Is it working? Let's try this. Is it working? There are books. There are people who have done it before. Coming to what I've been doing for the past 3 years now, since I had my third, I've gradually started putting together a community on my WhatsApp with my friends, acquaintances. We're sharing family-related topics, right? I'm saying this is how I'm doing it.
Yes, and I remember I was saying that you should put it to Instagram,
right?
So you need to say what your Instagram handle is. I'll put it on the screen.
So I do have a community on my WhatsApp where we are seriously involved. I'm sharing what is working for me. I'm also seeing what I'm not doing right, and I'm picking from other people. So for the past 3 years now, I've gradually started getting a community, right? My friends, my acquaintances, family members, and we're sharing ideas, right? I'm very proactive on my WhatsApp. I would put out my daily life, what's going on with me, and I've gotten so many engagement. I've built an actual community on WhatsApp.
Please, you need to bring that community to Instagram.
Yes.
We keep telling her, we keep saying it.
This year I've agreed, but Lord will help me. But I have built a community on WhatsApp where I am sharing how I am pushing forward, the setbacks I'm having. The other parents are also sharing what they are going through, how they are helping. I remember specifically when I kept complaining, I'm teaching my children how to sweep, teaching my children how to clean up, but it's more work for me. And I got a lot of encouragement, like, keep doing it, don't worry, you're going to see it. And truthfully, I'm seeing it. They're getting better, they can do it. So you need that community to keep encouraging you. And hopefully I have started that on my Instagram gradually, but God will help me.
Creating those contents is different.
It's hard. But I just want to put it out there that it's doable.
It's doable.
And truthfully, it's doable. It's all a thing of determination.
Yeah.
Right? Now, you and your spouse need to be determined. Like I said, you need to have a family goal and value. Intention. You have no choice, right? You're with this child all the time. It's no longer when you come back home, you press your phone, the whole day, somebody serves you. You have to be part of this thing. You have to be part and parcel of it. And there are there are actually resources out there.
Yeah.
Right? Like I said, a community like mine, you have friends you're speaking with. When you see a family that you like what they are doing, you connect and you stay on it.
Yeah.
Right? You connect with that family. You guys share ideas. You know, nobody does it alone.
Yeah.
Right? And then remember that you have to be in a good place for you to be able to point to your kids.
Yeah.
That's another thing.
Yeah.
You have to be in a good place. You can't be always angry.
Yeah.
Right? You can't be always
just
stressed.
Heal what is internal inside of you first. If you're going to be pointing out whether it's trauma, past trauma, whether it's stress, whether it's on things that you feel have been dealt to you that is unfair, like you have to deal with those internal things before you can become a good parent. I feel like God too and Jesus too should be like the center, right? Because I know a lot of people listening to it, some people might be Christian, some people might not be, right? But I'm just saying from my own point of view, faith-based, like
there has to be a faith.
It has to be, because like divine guidance and wisdom comes from God. And one of the things sometimes when certain things happen with my kids and I'm trying to say, oh, why did this happen? I'll hear the Holy Spirit say, I'll hear God say, I gave you these kids. You are like, sort of like what their guardian is here on earth.
I tell people that your family is your ministry as a woman. Your family is literally your ministry.
Thank you. That's where it starts.
You don't have to be the women leader of somewhere, the head of some. No, this is your ministry.
Yeah.
Right. You have to take it seriously. It's not a joke. Right. And for every child you raise right, you're raising a generation. Do you understand? This is not, you're looking at your child as just one child. This is a generation. This is a society. This one child, right? Because you're pushing this child outside. And if this child is like this child is going to have traumas that are going to pass. But if you fix, but if you fix it here, the child is going outside to pour out that love, pouring outside.
Joy, respect.
Now, your kids are getting into the age whereby they're looking at their peers. Right? You are you're somebody's child's peer. Right? And then that child that you've poured out so much to is going outside to point to the other child. And your child is influencing another child positively.
And this might fix the case of bullying in schools.
Another topic. Because bullies too. It's either their parents.
They watch what their parents
or it's they're lashing out of certain lack. There's a need or a lack that they're trying. So I mean, if you fix one child, you're fixing an entire generation of society. Take it from me.
Yeah.
So we have to. So in a nutshell, nobody else is going to do it for you. You're going to do it by yourself. It's tough.
You decide to have those kids.
It's tough. It's hard, but that determination to do it is powered by love, right? You love your children. I know. I told somebody, you cannot explain motherhood because. You're looking at a child that you cannot live without, yet you dread the whole process of raising them. It's daunting, it's stressful, but yet you cannot live without this child. So I cannot explain it.
You cannot explain it.
You can't explain motherhood.
I guess that's why our mothers could not explain it. Because they're like,
right? That's why
the baby like. I love guys the way that's just it. Like it's inexplainable. My own love might be different. But that's why I see certain stories of a mother did something to their child. I'm like, yeah, how? Because I feel mother. I know how it pricks me when my husband wants to correct my child. My husband, his sperm and my egg mixed together to make that child. Not just yet. I'm feeling a certain way when he wants to correct them. I'm like, It's now to harm them. So when I see those videos and watch, I cannot believe, because like I said, love is supposed to guide the way. But we all know that, especially using like spiritual eyes, to know that sometimes certain things can be controlled by forces that we cannot explain.
It's supernatural.
It's not like with our human eye what we can explain. Love guides the way.
Your child is not your friend. Let me reiterate that again. I'm sorry.
Do you guys hear that?
Your child is not your friend, okay? You are the mother, you are the father. And that encompasses a lot of things. Like I said, you are their disciplinarian, you are their mentor, you are their mediator, you are their guardian, you are their friend, right? So you're not just going to only pick and their friend.
I want to be their best friend, that's it.
You're not just going to pick one. You're their everything in one.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you're not going to pick and choose. You're not going to let your child make, your child doesn't know what is good for them.
Yeah.
It might hurt them. Most of us is when we became adults that we started realizing,
this was what my mom said.
This was what they meant. This was what they meant. They will not know. Okay. So please,
It's not easy. As in this topic here, it's not easy. Like we can go on and
we
on.
We can
and
go
on
the whole day with
like
this conversation.
We can have conversations. We can 12 hours, 13 hours non-stop.
We're not done. We're not done.
There's so many instances. There's so many more examples. There's so many things to talk about. There's so many things to unravel. But I'm sure Zizi will come back here again. We're going to have another conversation.
I think we should. We should.
Maybe part 2 about this parenting thing, or maybe the part 2 will be about, parenting but with your spouse, right?
Yeah.
Marriage, relationship, how it affects everything. We're going to talk about it too, because it's one of the things that is current, a big part of our lives, right?
Yes.
We'll talk about work, finances, parent, and all these things. But I feel like the foundation of a child's life is what guides all the other parts.
Yes.
Finances, to be wealthy, to values, to
certain, like you said, certain children grow up to be bullies. They grow up to be bullying parents, bullying spouses. So you as a husband, you're bullying your wife. You're bullying your children. Being a bully, you're bullying your co-workers. Yeah. So, if you raise one child right, you're fixing a lot of things. So we're going to leave that there.
Yes.
What we're going to leave it at is take care of yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
First,
take care of yourself.
Point to your kids.
Point to your kids. Okay. Personally, I heard this thing from somebody and it hasn't left me. It says you look good to feel good. And that is why I've spent extra time trying to look good, because when I see myself, I am happier. So you have to take care of yourself. When you see yourself looking raggedy, right? That is when you feel like, oh my God, I'm suffering. And that becomes your reality.
Yeah. I think that's another topic we need to talk about.
That becomes your reality.
We need to talk about that topic.
I'm suffering.
Immigrants, when we come here,
we start looking raggedy.
Yeah, we need to talk about taking care of ourselves as women. Like outlook wise and everything, that is not too expensive, but the things to do, how to take care of ourselves.
It's not even about expensive.
Body care.
Most times we're just too tired.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
because of all the moving parts. Yeah. There's so many moving parts. Some people are working 3 jobs, some people are
I know.
Some people have 5 kids. It's terrible. But I think it's another topic too we'll have to talk about too. So I'm writing.
There's a lot to talk about. But I am glad for this session. Thank you.
Yay! I'm so glad that you came.
I am glad for this session.
To share and drop some nuggets and wisdom, here. What's your handle? Your Instagram handle?
Yes, my Instagram handle is @Zizi_zillions.
Yes. It's going to be on the screen.
That is what I am working with now. Like I said, I'm trying to also raise a community there.
Yeah, because she has built one on WhatsApp, but it might be harder. So I'm sure people might ask this question, like if they want to join the community on WhatsApp, how? Is there a special page? Because I know there's no special page.
There's no special page, but that's the thing. I built that community because I'm sharing intimate things, so it's more close knit, and that's why I haven't.
So would you be looking forward to creating an open one?
So that's what I'm trying to do on Instagram. Even though I have not been, like I said, it's hard. It's hard. Usually on WhatsApp, a little thing happens, I'm able to capture it immediately, and then I share right there and then in picture, and then we have a quick conversation. I have multiple, I'm responding, and I'm not afraid to share certain things because of the people I know there.
Personal people too.
But when it comes to Instagram, YouTube, you're talking to every other person. So when it comes to Instagram and YouTube, it's a bit harder because you don't want to overshare. You don't know. It's right out there for everybody. So that is where I'm struggling. But I still want to be able to build that community where we can chat, help each other, show each other what we're doing, encourage each other that really it's not that hard, right? You don't have to let it
overwhelm you.
It's doable. If you love your kids, you make it work. Yeah. You make it work.
Yeah.
So thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Oh my God, it's so awesome to have Zizi on here. We'll have her here on more conversations and talks, but thank you guys for listening. Please like and share this video with any parent,
thumbs up
that you know. Yes, give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe, all the things that you can do. Also listen to on Spotify, because audio comes out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts first before video on YouTube. Because I just want you guys to listen more, right?
Before you watch. Share.
Yes,
because we want to be able to reach as much people as we can. I think that's your goal as well, to be able to reach multiple people. And it's also one of my goals. We want to reach as much people that we can. it's hard.
Yeah.
You don't need to do it alone.
You don't need to do it alone. You have support. You have people that will come on this podcast, share their tips, their advice, what has worked for them from experience, everything. So you too can learn, right?
Feel free to reach out.
Feel free to reach out. Like follow her on Instagram, follow me on Instagram. When she creates that community, if there's a separate page for it and everything, you would see that, right? And you see some of the things she posts in her content too, right? We're all here to help each other. Like I always say, even if it's one person, I'm able to help and change. I'm as good as okay.
It's good.
Like,
it's
good. My mission in life has been completed, right? So yeah, thank you. Like, subscribe, and share. Have an awesome day, awesome week, everything. Bye. See you in the next episode of Life in the Maple.